90 to 92. The Gerry Ryan Show, Monday to Friday, 9 till 12 on 2FM.
Nicola, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning.
Welcome. Well, you had an interesting evening, didn't you?
Oh my God, that's to say the very, very least.
Tell me what happened.
Right, it was my birthday, and now just so you understand, I'm 34, I'm not a child, okay?
Okay.
And I invited my boyfriend and 10 of our friends to go out and have our dinner. So off we went out, all looking forward to this great night. It was 9:30, we're sitting there with a couple of drinks. Then we ordered our dinner, as you do. You know, you're out having dinner, you order food. And next of all, this stripper comes into the restaurant. If you can imagine it, there's like a restaurant where you sit, you know, there's like tables of people. It's like, you know, long tables. Like there was 12 on our table, there was a table behind us with maybe 12, maybe the one in front of us had 10 or so. Mm-hmm. And right beside us is a smoking area for this restaurant, and it's a big glass built out kind of conservatory at the side of the restaurant. Yeah. And in comes this stripper, and they brought her right the way down to our table, you know, on the outside of the glass. This girl proceeded to take off every strap of clothes on her.
And did you order this?
No, we did not, of course not. There was a table of footballers sitting behind us.
All right, okay.
And they ordered this.
And she took off everything?
Everything. Now, I'm going to try and explain this to you, okay? It was extremely graphic. Now, extremely. Try and imagine this.
Take your time.
She took off her bra, and she's shaking her doodads, let's be polite, right, and into this guy's face. And next of all, the knickers are coming off. We were like, you have got to be joking me.
And what was it, Brazilian or what?
Well, you know, to be honest, Gerry, I wasn't really looking that closely at her. Do you know what I mean? But I'm sure there was plenty of men in the restaurant that were. Right. But where she was right down at our table. So everybody in the restaurant who wanted to get a look at this was standing around our table, right? So you can imagine, it's half the restaurant. And next of all, and in your own words, Gerry, she does a backflip and sticks a fallujah into your man's face. Right. Wraps her legs around his neck and starts gyrating, I suppose, is the best way to put it. She pulls him off the chair, sits him on the floor, and then starts jumping and bouncing all over him. Please remember, this girl hasn't got a strap of clothes on her. My boyfriend was sickened. My best friend, who was sitting at the corner where she could get a proper clear view of this thing going on, refused point blank to eat a dinner. A dinner was brought to her. She wouldn't eat it. We paid €58 on a service charge. And our waiter stood there with our food in his hand, looking out the window at this going on beside us.
Now, so you're there just to remind people of what happened. She's in celebrating her 31st birthday with her boyfriend. 34th 34th birthday with her boyfriend and your sister, I think, was it, yeah?
No, I had my auntie with me, my cousin, and the rest were groups of friends. We were friends.
So you had a few people there with you.
12 of us all together.
A bunch of footballers at another table. In comes a young woman who strips down completely naked, does a backflip, pokes her fallujah into one fella's face, begins to rub him up and down with it. Yep. And this puts some of your relations off their food, including your sister, I think, wasn't it?
Best friend.
Your best friend. And your boyfriend said he was disgusted. Well, he'd have to, I suppose. And you certainly were pissed off with the whole thing, weren't you?
You know what? How could you not be, Gerry? Like, we're paying a colossal amount of money in this restaurant for our dinner. There's 12 people. At this stage, it's 10:30 at night.
And did she keep going? Did she? I mean, how long did
No, she kept going. This went on for 10 or 15 minutes. Like, she was bouncing up and down. They were doing this, doing that. She was doing all these flips into his face, jumping onto his face. And
was she good looking?
No, she was not. And I'll tell you something, Gerry. She was a bit chubby, if you don't mind me saying, for a stripper. Now, not that I've anything against, but, you know, she kind of big cellulite all over you. You're kind of going, I hear seriously, like. Do you know what I mean? But in saying that, you know, everybody to their own. She wasn't that good looking. She wasn't very pretty. But somebody obviously thought something of her because they allow her out to do this in public.
Well, I suppose it might be illegal to discriminate against somebody who'd cellulite.
Yeah, it would be. But in saying that, like, you know, we were going to a restaurant. If we wanted to go and see a live sex show, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
We could have went somewhere else.
What restaurant was this, by the way?
It was Zhao in Santry. It's a Chinese-Asian restaurant in the Santry Omniplex. And it's a new restaurant. I had heard the food was fabulous. It was a karaoke night. And I thought, oh, you know, that suits us down to the ground.
Sounds like a bit of crack. Oh, sorry, but I didn't mean to say that. Sorry.
It fits, you know. But this went on anyway. So we were looking, you know, for our dinner. And my boyfriend, believe it or not, Jay, for all the messing, he was disgusted.
Was he, yeah?
He sat down. He wasn't watching it. He sat down. And
was it the cellulite, do you think?
Oh, God, she just had a very big bum, you know. So somebody's trying to ring me. You think they just go away? Here, I'll make them. I can't. So that was.
Do you want to
grand.
answer them?
So,
Just answer that and tell them to go away if it's annoying you.
I can't. I'm only after getting this new phone. I don't know how it works.
Okay, right. All right, so there you go. So anyway, this went on for 10 or 15 minutes.
went on.
Everybody's
My
absolutely... And did the footballers seem to be enjoying it?
Of course they were. Yeah. They're outside and they're giving it the big woo woo woo, the usual palaver. You know, They were young, some of them are fairly young lads, but the man that was having it done to him was not a young lad. I would say he was in his late 30s. And at one stage he seemed to me to be a bit embarrassed because when she was pulling him from the chair to lie on the floor, he really didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But of course, lads, peer pressure, football teams, he had to do it, you know.
Okay.
Well, while this is going on, my boyfriend's looking at the waiter saying, "Is that my food? Is that my food?" The waiter was standing there staring out the window.
The waiter was staring out the window?
The waiter was staring out the window. Now, we were after paying €58 for service charge, and our service was our waiter looking out the window at this thing going on outside.
Well, the waiter couldn't stop himself looking at the stripper.
Oh, obviously not, you know. So that was grand. My friend was really, really upset. She didn't eat any of her dinner, just completely put her off her food. And my other friend on the other end of the table was the very same. The rest of us kind of said, you know what, it's after happening now, it's 10:30, it's too late to go anywhere else. Yeah. You know, we'll just put it behind us. So that was grand.
And what was the atmosphere in the rest of the restaurant towards this?
Well, I'll tell you what, there was an older group of people. I'd say they must have been in their 50s, maybe 60s. They actually walked out of the restaurant. They walked out. And who could blame them, you know? Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm listening.
Oh, I thought you were gone, sorry.
No, not Charlie, you're mad. Listening to this story, how could I be gone?
Well, anyway, they walked out and after me kind of says, well, it's too late. We're not kind of clubber kind of people. We're in our 30s. Yeah. You know, we wanted dinner, karaoke, bit of cracking, end of story, you know?
Yeah.
So that was grand. We knew we'd nowhere else to go, we stayed. But Gerry, guess what?
What?
Just as we were finishing our dinner, another stripper came into the restaurant.
Another stripper?
Another one, number 2. Couldn't believe it. You could have wiped us off the table. We were like, here. Put her hand up, asked for the bill. She wasn't as graphic as the other girl, but she was the same, if you understand. She was getting her kid off, the top came off, the knickers, da-da-da-da-da. You know, I said, here, just totally turned my head. We had a couple of drinks, and then at that stage, 4 of my friends were so disgusted they left.
And, Nicola, did they sing a song or tell jokes or anything like that?
No, they didn't. They weren't like your average stripper. You know the ones you get if you're like on your birthday stuff, they read out a scroll and, you this... No, there was none of that. There was no speaking, there was no talking. It was just get your kid off, do really nasty stuff in the middle of a restaurant, la la la. Desperate.
Yeah. But the footballer, the clients seem to be enjoying it.
They did, but you know what? The older guys weren't really jumping up and down about it, to be fair.
Yeah, but the younger fellas have probably never seen it before.
The younger fellas thought this was the best thing ever. Who wouldn't at that age?
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
I was trying to explain that to the ladies on the programme that, you know, fellas, even in the middle of a war zone, they'll get excited by it.
They'll always stop for a good looking...
Yeah, of course they will. Yeah,
the second one was better looking than the first, but there you go.
The second one was better looking, was she?
Than the first one, yes. You know,
here's some texts coming in support of you. Hi, Gerry. Have to agree with Nicola. Restaurant's not a place where you should be subjected to a sex show. Yeah. I would have been raging, says Hilary. I appreciate the woman's complaint, but I wonder, would she complain if there was a handsome male stripper at a girl's table?
Yes, I would. It's unhygienic. You're in a restaurant, you know. If I've seen some male stripper taking his kid off and everything with it while people were trying to eat, yes, that would sicken me.
Chop suey dangling off his dongle.
Yeah,
could you imagine?
That would sicken me. Absolutely.
Same here.
You know, it's not a place.
Did you say anything to the proprietor of the restaurant?
At that night, my friend was kind of having words with him, the one that wouldn't do their food, which I was kind of saying, you know, look, relax, it's my birthday, leave this alone, we'll talk to them another day. So that was on Saturday night. On Sunday, I rang the restaurant. I asked to speak to the fella called. Can I say his name?
He's the manager of the restaurant?
Yes, the manager of the restaurant.
Oh, yeah, sure, that's not a crime.
Right. I asked to speak to Stan. I said, Stan, I don't know if you remember me. I brought 12 people up last night. Oh, yeah, you were the one that was supposed to have 13 but had 12.
Yeah. What's the name of the restaurant again?
Zao. Z-A-O.
Yeah, was the food good, by the way, was it?
You know, to be honest, Gerry, I couldn't tell you the gospel truth. The starter was lovely, then the main course came. This was all going on. Didn't really taste that great after that, to be honest.
Fallujah with fried rice, it's hard to...
Yeah, it's not really, you know... So I rang Stan anyway and I was explaining to him how upset I was, how upset my friends were. I said, look, we paid €650 on food and wine alone before we actually bought separate drinks after that.
Yeah.
We spent in excess between €800 and €900 in your restaurant.
It's a lot of dosh, isn't it?
It's a lot of money.
What did Stan have to say about it?
Oh, God. Well, he barely apologised. And I mean, at the very end of the conversation, kind of went, yeah, well, sorry. Basically, that they can't police the people who come into their restaurant. They didn't want any trouble of the footballers, the gang of lads. And, well, basically that was it. Suck it up. There's nothing we can do. It's not company.
So does that mean if you start taking off your kit and waving your credentials at the other diners, would that be okay then?
Well, but from the impression I was getting, he was implying that it was a young crowd and that was okay. So I was like, hello, sorry. I said, Stan, seriously, that's just... No, it's not. That's not okay.
You know, if part of me is amused by the story.
Yeah.
I'm sure that some fellas are excited by it.
Yeah.
But there's another part of me that says, because I take my food very seriously.
So do I. I love my food.
I you know what? If it said over the door, there may be nudity at this event.
Even a warning. Even a warning, or a chance to give us to go somewhere. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I do not think that it's something that the average person should necessarily have to expect over dinner.
No.
And I can understand how you were not only distracted, but I take it you were disgusted by it.
Absolutely. And the worst of it is, when I said to this guy, Stan, I said, look, seriously, I said, what? Like, I can understand about you not policing people. No, he said. So I said, why did you let the second stripper in then?
Yeah.
And he went, oh, the second stripper? I said, the second stripper, why did you let her in? Oh, I didn't know there was one. I was fixing the lights. The electricity went off. I said, excuse me. I said, it seems to me like you are passing the buck here. That you are the manager in this restaurant. And he just went, well, I'm very sorry about that. Well, there's nothing we can do.
Okay, maybe we should give Stan a ring, will we?
I think it would be fantastic to get Stan on the phone.
Guys,
I would like to see how he explains himself.
Maybe we should give Stan a ring.
Mm-hmm. He didn't even offer...
John Riley's going to give Stan a shout. Yeah. Actually, John Riley's going out. He's hoping there's a lunchtime special with the strippers on. So we're going to give Stan a ring, and we're going to ask him what the policy is, in the words of Brian Cowan, going forward.
The thing is, I would like to make an official complaint. I rang the Citizens Advice yesterday. I rang a solicitor this morning to find out, is there somebody who you can put a pen to paper to officially put it on paper and complain about this? And nobody seems to know of anybody who polices restaurants.
Well, Nicola, are you against stripping per se?
No, I am not against stripping.
Okay, so,
I don't mind people going out.
So you are what could be described as a very reasonable woman who just doesn't want it at the dinner table.
Yes, exactly. Who wants to look at some girl's fluja stuck in some fella's face as she's about to sit down for her dinner with her friends for her meal? I'm sorry. We are not prudes. We're young. We're all in our 30s, the people who were at that table. And there's not one person who was at our table that wasn't physically disgusted. My best friend nearly broke up with her boyfriend over it.
Really? Why?
Because he kind of looked for her a minute, he's a young lad as well. And then she just got really upset at the fact that he even was entertaining this in any way. Understandable, but eventually...
you'd have to have a look now, to be honest.
No, he did have a look, but then everybody at our table...
But then if you're smart, and you see, that's what men like me have to teach younger men. You have a look and then you go, that's disgusting, I can't believe it.
Now sit down.
She's horrible, you're lovely.
Yeah. And my friends, there was some ringing me yesterday and they were still fuming. They were like, Nicola, seriously. I said, look, had I have known this was going to go on, obviously we would have went somewhere completely different.
Of course you would have. Now, we're going to get in contact with Stan. Nicola, will you be around later on? We'll get Stan up on the line.
I very much would be. And you know what, Gerry, I have to tell you one last thing that really upset me about all this.
What was that?
When I rang Stan to complain about this, he was very blasé about the whole effort, like it was no big deal, it was nothing, forget about it. Did not even offer to compensate us with a bottle of wine or say, listen, I'm sorry, come back, you did spend a lot of money, la la la. I just basically blew the whole thing off like it was nothing. So I'm upset about this.
Either he's new to the business or he doesn't really understand.
Oh, he understands well enough.
The basic protocols of running, because this is by all accounts, it's meant to be a reasonably upmarket restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not a kip.
No.
It's not a backroom shebeen.
Yeah, this is why we went there, Gerry. We weren't expecting anything of the sort.
They'd be queuing up. All the young fellas would be queuing up tonight.
I tell you something, Gerry. I think I've just made his business for the year,
All right, stay tuned, Nicola. We'll talk to you later, okay?
I will do. Thanks very much,
morning.
Gerry.
Bye.
Bye now.
2FM. Afternoons on 2FM, kicking off at midday with Nikki Hayes and her all-request lunch. That's 120 minutes of your music. You choose, we obey, and play. Be in with a chance of winning the biggest prizes on radio. Then at 2 p.m., Ricochet perks up your day with a box full of afternoon delights. Interviews from the biggest stars and bizarre topics to keep your brain in motion. Afternoons on 2FM. You work, we play.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the programme. And this morning we spoke to Nicola, who went to Zao Restaurant in the Omni Centre in Santry on the north side of Dublin. She was out there for her 34th birthday party with a group of friends and family. And in the middle of her meal, she reports to us that a stripper appeared. A serious bit of stripping. Everything came off. A backflip was performed. And a young man's face was rubbed into the fallujah of the stripper. Went on for about 15 minutes. Nicola, you're back.
Hi.
How you doing? Okay, I've got Tony Connolly, the owner of the restaurant. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, Gerry. How are you?
They'll be queuing up to get into your place tonight.
I wish.
Okay, Nicola, there he is. You can tell him what you think.
Well, I think, first of all, it is absolutely disgraceful what went on in your restaurant on Saturday night. When I rang to complain to your manager, he tries to pass the buck, blame it all off. It's a young crowd, it's okay, football is here. Now, I don't think that that's acceptable, because had I have known that this was going to happen on Saturday night in your restaurant, there's no way in hell I would ever went near it.
Nicola, you come to the restaurant a lot, don't you?
No, I don't, actually, no.
That was
My
your
first
fifth
time ever in your restaurant.
It's never happened before. I
Pardon?
was talking to you on
It
the
never have happened first time ever, not before or
never
after.
happened when you were there before. This happened.
I was never there before.
Times
Tonight was my first night in your restaurant.
Sure,
This happens. Sorry.
let him speak there, Nicola. Yeah.
This happens 2 or 3 times a year. It comes unannounced to us. We don't organise this ourselves. If a group of lads turn up, they book it themselves, you know. And the best we can do, we put them on the balcony that night, as you've seen, away from the customers.
But they weren't away from the customers. They were right down by our table, and the whole restaurant was crowding around our table to see this.
They were outside of the restaurant.
They were right outside my table.
We have a function
On your
room for this.
balcony, on your premises.
We do have a function room for this. If this does happen, we usually put them in there, but it was booked at the time. We couldn't do
This
anything.
is excuses to me, to be honest. I brought 12 people up there who spent an exceptional amount of money in your restaurant, Tony, to have this happen. You know, and you're trying to say I was there before. I was never in your restaurant before. Saturday night was my first and last time for me and everybody at my table to set foot in your restaurant.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way about it.
Well, how would you feel?
Out of our
How would you
hands.
feel if you sat there with your friends and this went on?
It was out of our hands. We don't organise it ourselves.
Okay, well then tell me this. Why did nobody stop the second stripper then? Why did nobody interrupt this at any stage and say this is not acceptable? This is it's a restaurant. It's an establishment for food, not this kind of carry on. Why was it not stopped?
The best we could do at the time was take it away from the restaurant, to put it outside the restaurant.
You
on the
didn't.
balcony
You
for
put them
health
down
reasons.
beside my table where your whole restaurant and crowded around our table. We've each paid a lot of money for to
would
watch
be-
to go. Your waiter was standing there looking out the window while my boyfriend was saying, "Excuse me, sorry, that's my food." My boyfriend wasn't even entertained, and there were still people standing around our table.
This happened at 10:30, 10:30, yes?
10:30.
Everybody was served and fed at that time.
No, they weren't.
As
no, they were
late
not.
Booking, which is 9 o'clock.
I can show you photographs. No, they were not.
I apologise if you're offended, but
Offended? Would you not be offended?
I probably would. Yes, I probably
Yes,
would.
you would. Of course you would. Any normal human being would have been offended by that. She stuck a
That's why
fallujah in
we
your man's
took
face with her legs wrapped around his neck.
That's why we took it outside the restaurant. We didn't have it.
It
within the
wasn't outside the. It was on your premises in your smoking area, right at our window, at our table.
When you have a big group of lads in a restaurant like that, when we take a booking over the phone, we don't know whether it's going to be a group of lads, a group of ladies, mixed people. We don't know what it's going
Tony,
to be.
I suppose
I
I suppose the problem here is that, and why Nicola's so upset, and maybe if you just think about it for a second, if Nicola and myself turned up in the restaurant and proceeded to take our clothes off, I presume we'd be chucked out of the restaurant.
Of course.
Yeah, we wouldn't be put outside into a separate room or something. We'd be just thrown out. So I think what she's saying is, why didn't you stop it? And
why was the second one allowed in?
And you know, hindsight is 20/20 vision, Nicola, as well. Tony, I presume you look back on this and say, well, it was a mistake. We wouldn't let this happen again, or do you?
Of course. It'll never happen again. If it was out of our control. Christmas parties, they all do this.
I wasn't having a Christmas party. I was having a birthday party, just a nice little celebration, a few close friends, and they were all disgusted. Like, one of my friends did not touch a thing off her dinner plate. She literally put a napkin over and sat there and discussed. When I brought this up to your manager, Stan, he did not say, listen, let me give you a bottle of wine. Look, I'm sorry about that. Come back up 3 or 4 of you. So nothing. Just yet, whatever. Real blasé. Get over it. It's like a lad's thing. Young people in the restaurant, you know.
The manager's name is Dan.
Well, he kept telling me it was Stan the man.
No, Dan. You know Dan very well, actually.
I
The manager's name
don't
is
know what
Dan.
you're talking about. I was in your restaurant for the first time ever on Saturday night.
Okay.
You keep trying to
No,
imply
listen,
that I was there. Why do you keep trying to imply I was in your restaurant?
Okay. You were sitting at table 5 in our restaurant.
I don't know. It's about three up from the karaoke people.
Okay. We do karaoke every Friday and Saturday night, and we don't start the karaoke till 10:30 to make sure that everybody's fed and anybody that wants to leave at that time can leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We try to control it the best we can, Gerry, you know. But it just gets...
And
out
I know
of
that you have to,
hand.
in these difficult times, you have to resort to all sorts of different things to try and bring
But it was
the
completely
crowds in.
unacceptable to me and my friends. And it's like people are trying to make it that it was okay. It's not okay.
Well, I don't think he is trying to make out that it was okay.
It's not okay. We attract groups of people for the karaoke. That's what it's for, you know. And with that comes this element of stripograms. It happens maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and we try to control it best we can in the function room area that we have for 20 people. We would place them in there if we know this is going to happen.
Well, I don't think
But at the
Nicola would
time it was full.
Nicola wouldn't have a problem with that. Sure, you wouldn't, Nicola.
Not at all.
And that's usually the way it works.
The
but it's
fact
just on
that she was
night-
down beside my table, your whole restaurant was crowded around our table as we were trying to be served our dinner, and was watching this going on. Now, I'm sorry, but it's just not right. It was a restaurant. If I wanted to go and see something like that, I'd have brought my friends to town, to a place where it's supposed to carry on.
Again, I apologise if you were offended, but it was out of our control. We did the best we could at the time that was in it. We put them on the balcony.
And tell me this, are you willing to recompensate us for our meal and for the money we spent in your restaurant?
I couldn't do that, madam.
Why not?
I can compensate you in some other way if you like, but I couldn't give you back the money that you spent in the restaurant. You stayed till the very end of the night.
We didn't
You were
stay till the
dancing
very end of the
karaoke.
night. 4 of my friends walked off when the second one came in and left.
Okay. I'm just here on the radio to apologise to those who were offended, and it's not a thing that we do or go out of our way to do to offend people. We're a restaurant, first of all. If these people turn up, it's just that they come unannounced. We don't book them ourselves. These chaps come unannounced. They just come up the stairs into the restaurant. Before we know it, they're there taking off their clothes.
Tell me this, Tony. When you seen this girl going all out and taking her top and everything off, why was she not removed?
She was removed.
She was not removed. The fella that she did her backflip into his face was lay down on the floor when she was bouncing all over him then.
How do you tell 20 lads that they can't do this?
Very simply, you can't do this. This is my establishment. If you have a problem
When
with
it's
that, well, I'm very sorry.
when it's already started, the lady has half her clothes off before we know about it. How do you do this? You tell me.
Very simply, you say, sorry, this is not acceptable, and you remove
That's
it.
what we did do. And we removed her from the restaurant.
You
And that's
didn't.
all we can do. Our hands are tied. What else can we do?
But you didn't remove her. This
We
went
were-
on
we
and
were on
on.
the
There was
front door,
another
no.
lady on the
We were
phone
allowed-
earlier saying the very same thing. It's not just me you offended.
I don't know. There was 100 odd
There was
people
another
on
lady
that
on
night.
the
She's the only one that's ringing up.
No, there was another lady on the phone earlier saying the very same thing about your restaurant.
That was 6 months ago.
No, this
is the
morning,
last time
just
this
after
happened,
me.
6 months ago. I don't know. The best I can do is apologise. That's all I can do. And try to control the best we can in the future.
I
That's
really
about it,
don't
Gerry.
think
That's all I have to say
acceptable.
in the matter.
I'm sorry, but that's just not acceptable. We spent an awful lot of money in your restaurant to watch this. We didn't want to see this. But anyway,
Before
we're
any
just
of
going round
this
in
happened-
circles, aren't we, really, to be fair?
Before any of this happened, madam, you turned up to our restaurant half an hour. You were in our restaurant a half an hour. You were looking for a free bottle of champagne just
I
for
didn't look
turning
for
up.
anything. Excuse me.
turning up.
I didn't ask you for anything off my table.
Just
I
for
never
turning
asked
up,
for anything
you were looking for a
free.
free bottle of
We spent
champagne.
€650 on the food alone, and then the drinks afterwards. We didn't need anything free from you. So please
we
don't
have-
get onto a radio after what happened in your restaurant and imply that I was looking for something for free, because that's not true. So
Anyway,
please
madam.
don't do that, because that's unacceptable, okay? So please don't do that.
That's all we can say on the matter at the moment.
I
We're a
can't believe
restaurant,
you've just
first of
said
all,
that.
We have to control it. If we can, we control it better in the future if we can. When these people come unannounced, there's not much we can do about
So
it.
you can't guarantee that this won't happen again.
I can see it. We will put restrictions on it in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite clear that Nicola and others don't mind if it's happening in a room away from the general body of the diners.
It happens in restaurants throughout Dublin.
What's the stuff about the bottle of champagne, by the way?
I don't don't know what he's talking about. I never asked for one single solitary drink. I was drinking bottles of Budweiser, and that was it. Nothing more and nothing less.
The lady's been in a restaurant a few times.
I have never been in your restaurant.
Are you calling her a liar, Tony?
I'm telling you now, on both of my children's lives, I have never set foot in your restaurant before, ever. I went to your restaurant because a friend of mine had been, and she recommended it and thought the food was lovely. Personally, I had never set foot in your restaurant. So how dare you come on here and try to make out that I've been in your restaurant and I'm trying to get free stuff off you. I've never been in your restaurant.
We usually...
Who do you think I am? I think you might have me mixed up with somebody else, Tony.
We usually take deposits for Christmas time. She's such a regular, we didn't take a deposit off her.
Oh my God, that is such lies. I had to go up to your restaurant and give them my credit card details to hold my table. I had to give them my credit card details to hold the table. I have never been in your restaurant before, and I would appreciate...
Colin.
Yes, Jim.
You know in the TV show we're doing?
Yes.
You know when we connect to the Skypers?
Yes.
Stuff can go wrong there, can't it?
Oh, it can go horribly wrong.
Behind you! There's a guy in your apartment! Are you okay?
He's naked.
He's naked!
Find out what happens this Sunday, RTE1 Television, 6:30.
Colin and Jim's home run. Don't miss it.
I want you! 90 to 92. Gerry Ryan on 2FM.
Back to the story of the day yesterday, and that's the stripping at the Chinese restaurant Zhao in the Omni Centre in Santry on the north side of Dublin. And Samantha, who's backside, you can see in many of the papers this morning, particularly on page 6 of the Mirror's on the line. She was the first stripper that was mentioned yesterday. Samantha, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, how are you?
Very good, how are you, more to the point?
Pretty annoyed now, to be honest with you.
Why is that?
Well, I'm not happy with what that girl Nicola said about me. She's now oil painting herself. And I'm not that far. Well, everybody has cellulite now.
That's right. Nicola yesterday, who was complaining, said that you had a big bum and that you had cellulite.
Yeah, so what? I have a big arse, but she's no spring chicken herself.
Well, do your clients favour the big bottom?
Well, some do and some don't, but not everybody's perfect. I didn't ask her to look out the window at me.
Well, can I just say, just from a man's perspective, I'm looking at a picture of your bottom on page 6 of the Mirror today. And
yeah, I'm well aware of it.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't look that big to me.
Thanks very much.
In fact, it looks quite good, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, like, if people pay for this type of show to be done all the time, and there's nothing to it. You know what I mean?
Now, yesterday she was complaining that you got your, as it says here, doodads in the Mirror out, and that you had your Fallujah on display and you were rubbing it on this fella's face. Was that true?
No, I wasn't rubbing it on the fella's face. I was on top of him on the ground, but I didn't rub it in his face.
You rubbed it on his...
There's a difference between rubbing it in people's face and sitting on their face. That's a totally different thing. I didn't do anything like that at all.
What's the difference?
There is no difference. There is a big difference. There's a difference between rubbing off their face and sitting on their face. So if you sat on their face, you'd smother them.
That's true. You would smother them. You couldn't have
there
that.
you go then.
And you get the whole thing off, yeah?
Yeah, it was full strip, but I didn't stand there. As soon as I took my clothes off and put them all back on, then I left.
Okay. Now, yesterday, Tony...
I wasn't aware of the second stripper that came in because I had left.
Indeed, I have the fellow who works with the second stripper. His name is Peter. He owns Lap Danceogram.
Yeah, Peter Cole.
Yeah. Now, do you do a lot of this, Samantha?
Yeah, I do. Like, but I also worked in the club as well. In town, like. But at the end of the day, like, you don't always get jobs like this, and it was just a thing that I was called on the spur of the moment, and I said that I'd do it. Like.
Now, have you done much work for Tony Connolly's institution, Zhao? Have you been there a lot?
No, that was just my first one for them because it's just a friend of mine. Like.
And were you aware that there were people in the restaurant who were a bit freaked out by it?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't look around me when I'm doing my job. I'm in there to do a job. I'm in there and then I leave. I wasn't well aware that there was windows there and people out looking at me. I was aware that the footballers were behind me and they were watching it. And I'm not appreciative of people taking photographs of me and putting them in the Sunday newspaper.
Well,
in the Sun, sorry.
It's in all the papers today. It's only the Irish Times who don't have a photograph, and I'm sure actually they'd love to put it in.
Yeah, well, I have the Mirror here and I have the Sun as well.
Yeah, you're everywhere. You're in the Star as well. It'll be good for business.
Time to fame, so, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it'll be good for business.
Well, she has some neck, I have to say. Now, she obviously done it just to get a free meal out of the restaurant.
No, she said she didn't want a free meal. I'm going to bring in Peter here. Stay with us for a moment, Samantha, will you? Peter, good morning.
Gerry, good morning. How are you?
I've got Samantha, who was the first stripper into Zow the other night.
Samantha. Hi, Samantha.
Hey, Peter.
Very well.
She's very annoyed, she is.
You can see both sides, Gerry. It's a matter like my girl went into pretty much the same thing afterwards. One of my other girls from Lap Dancergram, and Samantha's one who's worked for me in the past as well. It's just a matter of down to personal taste.
Mm-hmm.
What you find or deem offensive, I mightn't be the same level as what you think. Again, it's in a restaurant. That restaurant out there, we've been there a few times ourselves. It's very popular for stags and hen parties, and it's a lively kind of restaurant. It's not something we go for, maybe a nice, quiet, romantic meal. It's a very, very busy and very popular place out there. And we've been there once or twice before. We normally get a great response from it.
Is it not beyond the bounds of possibility, though, that there might be children or, elderly people?
No, the policy is, our strict policy is, and Samantha normally does this as well, that
if there's any kids or anything there, the kids have to be gone.
We don't do full nudity in front of kids, and that's my company policy regardless. We will do topless.
Anybody's policy.
We will do topless, but we will not do full nudity in front of kids. And also, Gerry, at 10 o'clock, half 10 at night, most kids are not supposed to be in a licensed premises. That's the law.
Well, it's a restaurant.
It's a licensed premises after 9 o'clock.
No, you're wrong there. It's a restaurant. They're entitled to be there.
That maybe so the rest were definitely in nightclubs and bars are not allowed. But we do.
Well, in nightclubs and bars, obviously you wouldn't have children.
Yeah, but we do. So we send in security with our girls. We always check beforehand. We do mention if there's any kids there, we just get into a G-string and not a full Monty.
And you did, but did your stripper, the second girl, whose picture is also in the Mirror today, below Nicola Hughes's photograph? She's not Irish, sure she's not.
She's from Poland.
Okay, and what does she do?
It's pretty much the same thing.
And does she rub her Fallujah on the client as well?
Listen, they don't rub anything on anybody. It's literally just a case of it's for show.
Samantha does. She rubs her How's Your Father on him.
Yeah, but that's the way you dance. It's called bumping and grinding.
It's called bumping and grinding. Yeah, I know. I understand that, Samantha.
Yeah, well then.
I'm not against it.
Bumping and grinding.
Yeah.
Bumping and grinding. That's it.
Yeah, and do they become aroused? I mean, is that fella who's in the photograph? But had he become aroused during your
Gerry, I'm sure there's people looking
some fellas don't. Probably that intoxicated, he couldn't get it up.
Well, he looks a bit stunned, actually. Maybe I don't know.
Obviously, because he wasn't expecting it, that's why.
Yeah, he is. He's a bit stunned, all right. I wonder how he feels this morning of having his...
every girl is different, and every girl always dances differently, and I've always said that.
And what are you thinking about when you're doing your show, Samantha?
I don't think about anything. It's just a job to me, and I've had the money, so I just go in and do my job, and then I go. And
may I ask you, is it a rude question to ask how much you would have gotten for doing that the other night?
Was it what?
How much would you get for it? How much do you get paid?
€250.
How much?
250.
Oh, that's not bad for, 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, with 2 songs.
2 songs?
Yeah.
And, Peter, you'd pay out something similar, would you?
Will we charge that, yes.
Yeah, you charge that, but you wouldn't pay your Polish girl that, would you?
No, far from what we charge. We just cover advertising and stuff,
Well, how much would she get?
Well, that depends on the job, Gerry. Different rates, different places,
Samantha, did you get the 250, did you?
I did, yes.
Personally, how much did your girl get, Peter?
Well, Gerry, Samantha already did it for herself. She works for a company, so there's administration costs and advertising costs and the security costs. I have to include that as well,
Yeah, but how much would your girl get? €10?
Gerry, I hope we discuss liberty on the radio, what people call.
All right, well, I'll take it then, since you're not willing to discuss it. She gets next to nothing then.
2FM.
We have Samantha, the first stripper from yesterday's restaurant Zow's story, and we have Peter, the owner of Lap Dancergram. Samantha, you still there?
I am, yeah.
Good. Peter, you still there?
Sure, I am indeed. Gerry, quick question may I ask?
Yeah, go on.
May I ask what the difference between Nicola had a problem with the first girl and the second girl? It's pretty much the same routine. So where is the issue on the difference as such? I missed the show yesterday.
No, I don't think she did. I don't think she differentiated. She was just a bit more disparaging. She's actually on the line here. Nicola, good morning.
Good morning, Gerry. How are you doing?
Very good. Okay, I've got Peter, who is the guy who owns Lap Dancergram, quite a successful company, and Samantha, who was the first stripper yesterday, who's pictured in all of the papers today. Nicola, would you like to tell them what your problem was?
I'll tell you what it is. Samantha, first of all, it's nothing to do with you personally, first of all. I just want to make that very clear. You do what you do. You're making loads of money. Fair play. Well done. Right, first of all. My problem is it's in a restaurant. If it was somewhere else that you're going to where you're catering for this, that's fine. I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. But I do have a problem with it when everybody is crowding around my table in a restaurant while we're trying to get our dinner. That's where I have the problem. Not with you personally, right? So just...
My argument with you is, Nicola, you said in the newspaper, she's no prawn cracker, and at the end of the day, she had cellulite. Everybody has cellulite. You're no spring chicken.
Look, come here to tell you, it wasn't meant to attack you personally as a person. No, I'm no spring chicken. I was out celebrating my 34th birthday. This was the last thing
and you take all your clothes off. How about you do that?
No, come here and tell you, you do it for a living. I don't. That's the difference here. I have no problem with what you do for a living. You take your clothes off, that's fine. You're putting your body on show for people to look at. So it doesn't matter whether I'm a spring chicken or not, because I'm not doing that.
It doesn't matter. You're not bigger than I am.
How would you know? You probably didn't even know who I was on the night.
In the newspaper. You obviously have a problem with it, so you're just going to have to get over it, like, do you know what I mean?
Get over what? The fact that strippers come into a restaurant while you're eating your dinner? No, I'm sorry, I won't get over that, because that's exactly where my problem is.
I tried to show if you had a good gawk at me doing it, because you obviously watched the whole show because you were able to tell what I did, and you were able to take pictures as well.
Yeah,
they were my pictures.
Who took the pictures, I wonder?
I'm not saying who took the pictures.
All right, no, fair enough.
And as I said, at the very start of this, it's not that girl or what she does I have the problem with. It's the fact that it was going on in
No, I'll tell you what Samantha's problem here this morning, Nicola, is that you said she'd a big arse and that she'd cellulite.
I'll tell you what, Samantha, I apologise for that remark. I should never have said it about you personally, but it was not you. Again,
see, that might affect her business, you see, by saying that, Nicola.
Stop. She's probably going to get loads of business out of this now, and fair play to her for it. But my problem is, again, it wasn't about the girl herself, it was the fact that it was in a restaurant. To me, that is not where something like that should be taking place. It's very simple. Now, that guy yesterday got on the phone, Tony, whatever his name was, who owns that restaurant, throw black and blue on your radio show, Gerry.
Yep.
It never happened before in his restaurant. But then you have the other man there, and he's saying it has happened before in his restaurant.
Well, I want to know who took the pictures because I'm putting a lawsuit in against you.
You go ahead and do what you have to do to make your money, right? That's grand.
I will. Believe me, I will. Believe me, I will.
Grand. You do what you have to do.
I will.
No.
Believe you me, I will. So the next time you have something to say, you just keep it in your mouth and don't say anything at all, okay? If you've nothing nice to say, well, then don't say it at all, okay?
Well, I'm after telling you. I'm after telling you a couple of times. Listen, I'm not getting into a petty little argument with you, Samantha. You do what you do for a living, and that's fine. Nobody has a problem with what you do for a living. My problem, I will categorically say it one more time, is the fact that it was in a restaurant. When people were sitting down to eat their dinner. It was in the restaurant. Here, that's all part of the one place. It was an establishment. It was one business. It was all part and parcel.
All right,
all right, go on.
Come on. Sorry, what were you going to say, Samantha? Go on.
No, at the end of the day, it wasn't in the restaurant. It was out on the balcony away from everybody.
It was all part of Zow.
Okay.
There was no
Let me just.
area
I want to go back to Peter for a second.
Part of Zow.
Okay, just hold on a second there, Peter. Obviously, this is a full strip that was done on both occasions. Now, customers are obviously much more demanding nowadays. Gone are the days when you could turn up, in a bikini and get away with it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's totally changed.
First of all, Nicola, happy birthday. Sorry about your
Thank you very much.
Put out. What happens, Gerry? Look, no matter where you do this gig, whether it be a nightclub, pub, restaurant, no matter where it is, it takes one person to be offended and ring the Gerry Ryan show, and that's what's after happening here. You could have 100 people.
It wasn't just one person who was offended. There was loads of people offended at my table. 4 of my friends walked out on the second one. On my birthday, which I find that very hurtful because we weren't expecting this. Had we been expecting this, we would have went somewhere else.
Why did they walk out on the second one and they didn't walk out on the first one?
Because we thought after the first one that was the end of it. We thought there was no more. We thought that was the end of it. We thought, well, you know what, we'll get on with it tonight. One of my friends was going ballistic over this. I said, you know what, it's my birthday. Let's forget about this. We'll deal with it another day. But when I rang the restaurant to complain, they were so blasé about the whole matter that it annoyed me. Some people find this perfectly acceptable,
let
and
Peter
that's fine by me.
Peter?
But I don't find it perfectly acceptable.
Peter?
Nicola, just a quick
In a restaurant.
All right, let him come in there.
Nicola, the fact it was in a restaurant. If that was in a pub, would you be offended?
Pardon?
If it was in a nightclub or a bar, would you be offended?
I'd have walked out, to be honest. If it was a nightclub or pub, you're not going to walk out with somewhere where you're sitting down to dinner with 10 or 12 people at 10:30 at night.
But Nicola, the point I'm making is that it's a kind of job that some people like it, some people hate it, regardless of where we do it.
No, I understand that. And I personally, per se, do not have a problem against anybody doing something like that. My problem is it should not be in a restaurant. It's that simple. It should not be in a restaurant. It's the place you're going to have some food.
But Nicola,
you're not going to have food and look at someone take their clothes off.
Nicola, appreciate that. But if you were in a bar or a nightclub, like I was in a nightclub there on Saturday night on the video.
Well, I tell you what, let me put it to you this way. I wouldn't go into a nightclub where I knew that was going on.
Nicola,
it's just a spur of the moment thing when it happens, so you wouldn't know whether it was going on or not.
Well, no, this is one of those things, but you could walk away or you could do something or you could leave if you're only in a pub. You can't do that if you're in a restaurant.
Nicola, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
If you go into any of the top clubs in Dublin now, they have plasma screens on the wall.
Can I just say to you, I don't go clubbing. So you can say clubs and this and that and for whatever, stags and what have you, that's all well and good. Personally, I don't go clubbing. I have 2 small children. I go to work, I stay at home. I go out once every blue moon. I went out for my birthday, wasn't expecting what happened, was very, very shocked. But it was your man Tony's attitude that annoyed me, not that girl Samantha. Like, in fairness, she's out, she's doing a job, she's making her money. You have to say fair play. But the other side of this is very, very simply this. It is not something that you expect to find in a restaurant.
In your opinion, Nicola?
Right, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's not something that should be in a restaurant.
But hang on, Nicola, I just want to say something. Why go to the newspapers and the Gerry Ryan show?
No. Let me tell you what happened first of all, Samantha. When I rang up the Zow the next day, and I asked to speak to the manager. I said, I'm really unhappy about the fact that it was a full-blown strip in the restaurant. I don't think that was acceptable. We were eating our dinner. Eventually, all my friends left.
All over the place.
No, you have to ask me a question, so please be quiet and let me answer you, okay? I wasn't happy about this matter. I brought it to the attention of the establishment, who basically said, whatever, it was a young crowd, no big deal, Ash or whatever. And that annoyed me. But when I tried to find, somewhere to put in writing my complaint, to say about this restaurant, not to the papers, not to Gerry Ryan, to someone to complain to in writing. Like somebody who would be, you're asking me a question, would you be quiet and let me answer you? You asked me why I did, I'm trying to explain. So when I tried to find somewhere to put it in writing to say, this was unacceptable in a restaurant, not against you personally, there was nobody you could take your complaints to. So I brought it to the Gerry Ryan show, where your man proceeded to get on the phone and say, you were looking for free champagne. And I'll tell you this, just to clear something up, that man very much has me mistaken with a different person who was in his restaurant that night, because I was not speaking to him at any time throughout the whole night, and I most certainly did not ask for something for free.
Yeah, I suspect he had you mixed up with somebody else. I suspect he had you mixed up.
He definitely had me mixed up with somebody else. And this is what annoyed me, Samantha. So just so you understand that. The fact of the matter is he got onto that radio station yesterday and tried to make out that I was some sort of, I don't know what the words are, but somebody who was looking for something for free off him. I wasn't looking for something for free on the night and nothing of the sort. He knew we were unhappy on the night. We complained the next day and then he tried to ignore it.
At the end of the day, you got annoyed, right, so you took it all out with me. You put me in the newspaper and you put me on the Gerry Ryan show.
I didn't put you in the newspaper.
Because you didn't get your satisfactory results off the manager. There was no need to bring my name through the papers and the Gerry Ryan show.
I didn't bring your name anywhere.
You did, it's all over the newspaper.
I didn't put your name anywhere. I didn't even know your name until you got on to Gerry Ryan this morning. Now, I'm not getting a chatty argument. You do what you do.
Hold on, let Peter in there. Peter.
Samantha, as you know, every time something like this happens, my company gets contacted. In fairness, I had 2 calls off newspapers yesterday asking who the other girl was. I didn't know it was you, Samantha. I just said I had a girl in there, but I've after discovering there was 2 girls in there. Yeah. I originally thought this was one of my girls getting attacked, as normally the case, but there was 2 girls there. And as I did say, both girls do pretty much the same routine, and it's more or less, the same dance, same price.
Okay, can I just ask you, Samantha, is there how's business for the Christmas period?
It's very slow at the moment, but it will get busier.
Do you think people will be booking you now because of this?
Well, why not?
Oh no,
to be fair, I had 100 texts yesterday asking me did I know your name and number, so I'd imagine you'll be alright for Christmas.
That's what it is, claim to fame, but I do have a day job.
I know you're upset about this, Samantha, and all, and I can understand that, right, which is fair enough, but it would never against you personally.
What about my family having me in the newspaper? All my family know I do for a living.
What about everybody sitting at my table, Samantha, on my birthday, and we went out and spent like 800 euros on food and to watch this? And people who are offended by this, you're kind of saying, well, what about me? But what about me? It was my birthday. This is not something me.
See, I suppose also, Samantha, there is a touch, and I speak from some experience, is that when you do stuff in public, it is going to get into the newspapers.
Yeah.
And you're taking
yourself out there.
You're taking your kit off in a restaurant. People are going to notice, and I understand that you're upset this morning. Peter, will you be providing over the next couple of weeks strippers for restaurants?
There's a demand for it, and I said some places like Zow are. There's certain places that do karaoke in restaurants, and it's more like a nightclub scene now. And there is demand for it in certain restaurants. Obviously, not in some of the quieter, more exclusive, where it's more romantic and, very...
Peter, can I just say, did you say already today that Sal said you had people in Zell before?
Yes. I had people say before, yes.
Yeah, because that fella got on the phone yesterday and said it never happened in this restaurant. And it was all me, and I was this, and I was that.
Well, maybe his
and
memory's
I'm very upset
bad.
about that, because you just come back this morning and contradicted what he said.
Maybe his memory's bad.
If the manager was off that night, we do an awful lot of restaurants, pubs, clubs. About 30% of our business is restaurants.
Restaurants,
and I wish
really?
the best of luck, and I hope you keep on making money, but it's not something I want in a restaurant.
Samantha, are you working tonight?
I am working tonight, yes. And I'm in work today as well.
Where are you working tonight?
I'm working in Valentino's on Eden Quay.
Valentino's on Eden Quay.
Yes.
And Peter, where will your girl be tonight?
Gerry, Valentino's is a lap dancing club. It's a full-time club. Most of my girls are just part-time, which is primarily weekend work, like Friday and Saturdays.
You never know where you are from time to time with the lap dances, with the lap dancegram.
You never know where you're going to be going with the lap dancegram. Now, listen, I'm going to give the three of you something from Santa's sack. Peter, this might come in useful for you and your business.
It's a confession book, is it?
No, it's not a confession book. Here, this is the Sony Ericsson K770i, a lovely lightweight phone, available in black and pink. I suppose you'd go for black. It's a nice bit of kit. It's got a CyberShot camera.
Thank you very much.
In fact, I had one of them myself. It's very, very good. Samantha, for you. Let's see, what am I giving for Samantha? Let's give it Samantha. Where's Samantha's one gone? Oh, yes, here it is, here. I've got for you from Brown Thomas's a €100 Brown Thomas gift card, Samantha.
Thanks very much.
And Nicola, let's see what I've got for you. Just so that everybody goes away happy, you know.
Gerry, can I have a quick word, Nicola?
Season of goodwill. A designer, Yves Saint Laurent's brown sunglasses with leopard print. Absolutely gorgeous, right?
Fantastic, Gerry. Thank you very much. And Samantha, as I said, I just want to reiterate, it was never about you. It was the fact that it was beside my dinner in a restaurant. And if it's offended you, really, I never intended to, okay?
So there you go, guys. Thank you very much indeed. Good morning.